Horror remakes. They usually get a lot of hate, and I'll admit I'm one of those people who hates the idea when a classic horror movie that I know and love, that I grew up on, gets the remake treatment. It's usually because Hollywood doesn't have any ideas, they don't know what else to do, and what? What else? They want to make a buck, they want to go for something quick and easy, so they make a horror remake. Well, I'm here to talk about the top 10 best horror remakes that's ever been made because there has been some good ones. At number 10, It, the 2017 remake. This isn't a requirement, but it helps when the original film isn't all that good. I'll be honest, I saw the original It when I was a kid, and back then it scared the living hell out of me. But when you grow up and you rewatch it, you think, oh, actually, this isn't all that scary now, is it? But then the remake happened. And the remake was when I realized that this character, Pennywise, is scary, can be scary if you do a lot more with it. The creativity, the endless wonders of his powers. He can do so much, especially to kids, and how he's willing to do that to kids, but the kids were very likable as well. You wanted to laugh with them, you wanted to follow along with them, you wanted to watch like their own movie that was like a coming of age comedy. But then you have some of the messed up backstories. Then you have the characters like Beverly, who just, her home life is so horrible. It's another layer, another level to what horrors are going on other than a clown who eats kids. That opening scene with Pennywise talking to Georgie, and yes, we knew what was going to happen. We've seen the original. It's a scene that we just all remember and love. Number 9, The Crazies. Here's a remake that nobody really talks about. I enjoyed this. I really liked the concept, how a town is being ravaged by this disease that's in the water supply. I always thought that if a zombie apocalypse or anything like it ever did happen, it would be like this. Everyone who does get affected, it takes a little while for some people to get it, but once you get it, you don't necessarily become a zombie, you just become a different person, an angrier person, a more aggressive person. And your neighbors, your friends, that idea of people that you know and recognize and see every day in town will attack you. And they will attack their loved ones. They will attack whoever they need to. Number 8, Last House on the Left from 2009. I watched the original recently, and don't get me wrong, that one's pretty violent and hard to watch as well. But I saw this first, and there's something about this scene of seeing this young girl. The brutal rape scene is just one of the hardest things to watch, but she endures it. She survives it. She's left for dead. And then this group winds up on the parents' front door. Of course, they don't know that they're the parents. The moment when the parents find the daughter and then realize what's happened and then realize that these people are in their house, that's when the movie becomes a hell yeah moment. That's when the movie becomes a revenge flick where the parents do some of the most dastardly things. Number 7, The Hills Have Eyes from 2006. Here's another remake that I see some people crap on here and there. I think it's because of the love for Wes Craven and the original film. Again, there's another rape scene that happens in the RV, and there's a baby involved that gets kidnapped. And I love the fact that our main character is just a guy. He's not some, like, the best looking dude in the world. He's not some buff looking dude. He's not some guy, Chris Hemsworth, that's going to go and save the day and be the hero. No, he's just a guy. His baby got taken, and he's going to do whatever it takes. These mongoloid people that live in these hills because of some nuclear testing that went on. Coming in at number 6, Friday the 13th. The remake from 2009. Again, another film that I think gets crapped on because, yes, the originals are great. The originals are fun. And when I say great, I mean, come on. They're trashy. They're Jason killing people in some of the best, funnest ways that you could think of. So they're fun for that. But the remake did a good job of keeping the lore, keeping the continuity the way that you would want it. They didn't really change a whole lot. Sure, they might have overly explained some things about Jason, how he does things, how he lives in the woods, and how he gets around, but that was fine. Who cares? Because what we got with a Jason, a big, nasty, gnarly, brutal, a guy who will kill people. And I love that we got a little bit of everything. We got almost the first four films rolled into one, the greatest hits of Jason in a sense. Number five, The Blob. From 1988, the year I was born. I remember watching this movie as a kid, and it scared the living crap out of me. When I saw the original, I thought, okay, it's fine, but it never brought to me that same impact, that same level of fear, that same intensity that this movie did. There's so many creative and different scenarios of how the blob can kill people. The one scene in particular where the blob swallows up this guy whole and he's reaching out to his girl and trying to get help. Speaking of 80s, number four, The Fly. 1986. How does this not wind up on this list? You have Jeff Goldblum as this likable scientist, very charming. The scene of him picking up Gina Davis, and obviously she quickly falls for him. And then you see what he's working on, this experiment, this machine, which actually makes sense. It's not his fault that a fly just so happened to go in and cross pollinate with his DNA, and to see the slow dissolve of this man who was so likable, but he goes down this dark path and becomes a horrible, hideous creature. Number three, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003. I know this will be controversial for sure because I really enjoy the original. And I say really enjoy, let's be honest, it's a messed up film. It's hard to watch. It's gruesome. But there was something about seeing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake. I always knew of Leatherface, but this was my first real introduction to how scary he could be. Past films had made him a joke, and this movie really brought him back to what he is, what he can be. Obviously, the sheriff has a lot of memorable scenes where, yes, he does his classic Full Metal Jacket, yelling at everyone and swearing, but he's at the next level. He is definitely just as scary, if not more scary, than Leatherface. Number two, Dawn of the Dead, the Zack Snyder remake from 2004. I watched the original. I thought it was fine, but I couldn't fully get into it. I couldn't. George Romero, respect him, classic and all of that. But this movie gave me a lot. It gave me characters that I cared about. It gave me characters that I was wanting to go along with. Some of them have fun with. And it gave me a scenario that was up to date. And I'll always say that running zombies are the scariest zombies ever. If zombies ran in real life, if this was real and they ran, there's no winning. There's no surviving. For the number one best horror remake of all time, let's see if you agree. The Thing from 1982. Man, this film, still, when I think about it, when I look at what is going on in this movie, John Carpenter, I swear he has the most effed up imagination. Kurt Russell obviously is a great main character, and even everyone else you're seeing being picked off. But the idea of this alien that's able to shapeshift or able to latch itself onto you without you realizing it, and it just merges in your DNA. You don't even quite know how it pulls this off or what it does. Makeup effects, the practical effects, the scenes where people's heads are crawling around the room. It's gross. It's so gross. Even after all of these years, I could watch this movie 100 times and I'll still be just as grossed out, just as creeped out as I've ever been. So guys, let me know in the comments below what you think of my top 10 best horror remakes. Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree? What's your number one favorite? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!